Welcome to Talking Awe. Another week, and it's been a busy one, let me tell you. We'll start off this week with, I'll tell you a little bit about what I did last weekend, and why there wasn't a new episode of Talking Awe last Monday night. I spent the weekend in Hampton. Taking still pictures was my original goal. And then last Friday, I was asked by the executive director here at Cheshire TV to go to Hampton, take a video camera, and cover the Penguin Plunge. I thought, that's a great idea. So I did. Took a video camera over Saturday morning, met up with Rob Pareca, who hooked me up with an all-access pass to get me down on the beach in the center of it all. Saturday was the high school plunge. I'm trying to remember my numbers because I gave my slip of paper to Chris Coates. I believe it was 430 high school kids took the plunge. They raised, I believe, $179,000. The high school kids. Don't quote me on this because I didn't do any research as usual. But the numbers that I was hearing over there, I believe altogether, the entire weekend, Penguin Plunge raised, I want to say it was like $600,000 for Special Olympics of New Hampshire. It's a great thing. On Saturday, Kevin Skarupa from Channel 9, the Channel 9 weatherman, he was the basic MC, first one in the water. I don't know if he was the first one in the water, but he was pretty close. He led the high school kids in on Saturday. I was down, 15, 20 minutes before the plunge. I realized I was standing right next to Kevin Skarupa on the beach. So I turned to him and I asked him if he would mind taking a couple minutes setting the scene for the folks here in Keene. Just from me. He stepped right out in front of my camera and told me, let me know when to start. What a great guy. And I've got to say, everybody says the camera adds 10 pounds. When I saw him on the beach, first time I had ever seen him anywhere other than on the Channel 9 News, he looked a little heavier in person than he does on the air. I don't know why, but his face looked a little chubbier. Maybe it's the makeup. The fact that on Saturday on the beach, he wasn't wearing any. And in the studio, I'm sure they cake it on like clown makeup, just because of the bright lights. But it was a great day on Saturday. I spent the night at the Ashworth by the Sea in Hampton. What a beautiful hotel. I was a little disappointed because I couldn't get a Wi-Fi connection in my room. And, of course, the rooms there are all non-smoking. I feel it's a form of discrimination. Anyway, I'm not going to get off on that tangent right now. It was a great weekend. The Frozen section, that's the team that goes down from the Cheshire County area every year, led by Dr. Dan Rath. The amazing thing about the Frozen section, there's one girl in the Frozen section. Her name is Becky May. She's a special needs person. She raised $5,005 by herself. And this wasn't, she went to one person and they gave her $5,005. From what I understand, she talked to almost 400 people. What a great job. And it's wonderful to think that people will give, you know, in this day and age, they'll still give, even with the economy. They'll give to the things that they believe in. And the Special Olympics is a great cause. So, all in all, I went down there and I filmed a little piece. Well, I shot a bunch of footage. Most of it was crap. But I managed to get 7-minute video out of both days. And I have to say kudos to Dr. Rath, the entire Frozen section team, and his surprise councilwoman Ruth Venezia attended, took the plunge, and I believe she went all the way to her neck. Wonderful. She was the only city council person that attended. That, I think, is sad. I think it should have been, you know, at least 3 or 4 out of the city councilors we have should have been involved with this event. That's all I'm saying. Next year, remember that. Keene High School, also. Keene High School did not send a team over on Saturday. Exeter sent a team. Nashua South sent a team. Woodsville High School, all 4 kids said Keene High School stinks. They should have been there. No, they didn't really say that. But Keene High, come on. 28 high schools or 29 high schools from around the state were there at the high school plunge. Next year, let's try and get a team from Keene to go. We can document it. It's great fun. All right, so let me play this video for you real quick. Kick back, have a sip of your drink that you're drinking, or whatever you're indulging in. Go ahead. But this is the 2012 Penguin Plunge.
Plunge. It has been amazing over the last couple of years to watch this event continue to grow to where it is today. It is a beautiful day out here. The sun is shining. The breeze, yeah, that could be an issue eventually here. Air temperature 34 to 36. Not that I would know on my day off. And the wind is blowing at around 20 miles an hour. Water temperature right now, a warm, bear in mind, 43 degrees. The theme today, as you can obviously notice, are pirates. We're going to have 2 waves out here today of high school students. They've raised over $80,000 in this event today, and this is just the high school plunge as opposed to the adults with over 800 plunging on Sunday, on Super Bowl Sunday. Go Pats, by the way. An amazing event, and it's great to be a part of this. The high school kids that completely get it, understand that this is what it's all about out here today. They're all fantastic kids. Parade was wonderful, and now we get ready to jump in the ocean, which, yeah, in itself is a whole new experience for any of these high school plungers that have never done it before. But they are enthusiastic, and they're ready to go.
lost my glasses again, but fortunately I put this thing on and they're at my chest while I'm looking for them out in the water. But everything's good. It's a beautiful day.
All right. Like I said, what a great day. And after the plunge was across the street into the casino ballroom where they had hot food, sandwiches, they had live bands on both days. What a great event. And I look forward to going back next year and covering the event. Now that I know how everything works, it'll be a little easier next year. So now, let's talk about other things, not happy things. About a month ago, or just under a month ago, I found myself in need of going to the emergency room at the hospital. And you know this is a pet peeve of mine if you've been watching my show for any amount of time. I had an ear infection. I knew I had an ear infection because it felt like somebody was sticking a knife into my ear. And it was plugged up and it hurt. Now I hadn't had an ear infection since I was a little kid, but I knew I had an ear infection and I was in pain. Pain. You know when they say scale of 1 to 10, where are you? Yeah. When I go to the hospital, I'm at 10. Plain and simple. I don't go because I've got a 3. You know? I've got a 3 every day. Something hurts or aches or throbs. It's age. That's what it is. It's age. It's hard living. So I go to the emergency room. I waited, maybe an hour, hour and a half in the waiting room before they finally took me into the back. I was in the back maybe 5 minutes before somebody came over. Had one of those little thingies. Stuck it in my ear. He said, "Oh yeah, it looks really red. Looks like you've got an ear infection." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Let me look in the other ear just to check." He looked in the other ear. He told me an ear infection is something that just happens. It can be caused by a common cold. It just happens. You don't have control over that thing. He looked in my ears. He said, "Sit tight. I'll be right back with a script for you. We'll get you all taken care of." He came back in maybe another 5 minutes with a script, with my sheet of home care instructions, sent me on my way. Total time in the emergency room, not the waiting room, the emergency room, 10 minutes. I got a bill last week. Actually, I got 2 bills. I got one bill from the emergency room for $600. I got another bill from the doctor for $200. Son of a bitch. If you have an ear infection, come and see me. I'll look in your damn ear for $50. $800 for some guy to look in my ear and tell me, you've got an ear infection? Here, let me write you a script for another $100 worth of antibiotics. How in the hell do you justify those kind of costs? As it stands now, if I'm going to pay the bill, it looks like I'm going to have to dump my cable television service. Which might be okay, because I'm thinking maybe what I should do in the evenings is go hang out at the emergency room in the waiting room and watch TV. You know, show up there at 7:45 at night. When they ask me, can we help you? Say, no thanks, I'm just here to watch TV. I had to pay for an ear infection. And I'll show up with my soda and my chips. And I'll sit there and watch TV. Why not? I might as well stay there for a month if they're going to charge me $800. That's a month's worth of rent on an apartment. So how come it only buys me 10 minutes in the emergency room? I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. I'm 50 years old. If I was 70 years old, you know, let me put it this way. If I was 75 years old, I would have just said, let me die. 70 years old, you can't afford $800 for an ear infection. It's not like I went out and purposely got an ear infection, where a lot of medical procedures are caused from people that go out and do stupid things. Every summer, we have motorcycle races in Winchester. We have car races in Winchester at Monadnock Speedway. Somebody gets hurt on one of those motorcycles, boom, it's care. They could have avoided that by not riding the damn motorcycles. People say, oh, well, you're a smoker. Your health care costs should be more. Bullshit. I'm not racing motorcycles. I'm not ski jumping. I'm not rollerblading down hills. When I go to the hospital, it's because of something I can't control. For the most part. It just drives me nuts. All right, enough about the healthcare, because I'll just I could go on and on and on about healthcare. The fact is, it shouldn't be so expensive. Plain and simple. Especially for a 10-minute visit. Look in my ear, write something down on a piece of paper for $800. It's retarded. Last Thursday night, I'll roll into the city. See how I've got my blood pressure up already. Last Thursday evening, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee met at City Hall at 5:30 in the evening and wrapped up their meeting 4 hours and 45 minutes later. Main thing on the agenda? Reconsideration of the Lenco Bearcat armored vehicle. That's right, I said armored vehicle. After all, it's not a tank, but it's not just another pickup truck. It's an armored vehicle. I don't know how many people from the public actually got up and talked, but there was 2.5 hours of public input. Pros and cons, mostly cons. The thing that I kept hearing over and over and over again is the militarization of the police force. It's sad to say, but it's happening all over. I'm not sure if it's politically caused or if it's just the fact that crime rates are increasing. I don't think crime rates are increasing. I just think that back in the 70s, when we had 10,000 people in Keene, we had a certain crime rate. When you move another 50,000 people into Keene, you can't expect to keep that same crime rate as you had when you had 10,000 people. More people, more crime. I mean, it's statistics. There was a experiment done years and years ago where a guy started with 2 rats in a small cage. And he gave them a set amount of food. And every day he gave them the same amount of food, the same size cage. But after a while, these rats started to get together. And the population in that small cage increased. But they didn't increase the size of the cage. They didn't increase the amount of the food. And before long, there were too many rats in the cage. The cage was overcrowded. There was not enough food for all of them. And the rats turn on each other. It's the same way with people. The more people you have, the more chances you're going to have for people being disillusioned, disgruntled, and just, feeling like they're not getting what they deserve. So, think of that. The Bearcat is going to full council either next week or in 3 weeks on March 1st. We're not sure because Mayor Lane wants to give all the councilors the chance to weigh in on this deal. So we'll see what happens. The other half of the FOP committee dealt with the review of the capital improvements projects, and there'll be coming a public hearing for all of that pretty soon. There was also the Keene School Board first session on Saturday, and my time's up. So, till next week, peace.